Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the photographic tools that you can use right in the operating system of Apple, as opposed to using other software. So we're going to use the software that's provided with the operating system. For example, last night we took a picture of the moon from our balcony to the moonrise. Now look how amazing that is. You can see the shadows of the moon. I don't I'm not a lunar guy, so I don't know what those shadows mean, but the areas where meteorites and other things hit it over millions of years. Eruptions, perhaps, on the moon. Anyway, so I've brought it up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do let's see. Okay, there we go. So we're going to take me and put me in a corner, because now you know I'm here. And we're going to hit this top button up here. You can't see from my iPad, but there's in the upper right corner, there's a thing. Now this is just, Apple stuff. Let's go back here. Let's collapse that. You see down here in the middle of the lower middle of my screen, I have the indication of where all the photos are, and I've got a bunch of them, like 70,200 something. So I'm going to touch on that, and then here's our photos, and I'm going to pick this guy right here. So now this is the moonrise, which we can see it was at 5:35 p.m. I'm looking at the very top of the photo. There's indication of what time it was taken. It's all in the XF data in each picture when you take a picture. So now in the upper right corner, there's a button that says Edit. We're going to push Edit. And so now we're going to work on this photo a little bit. So you notice on the right-hand part of the screen, let's do that, the top button is what you would use if you're going to adjust the picture's brightness and all that. This is, if you're going to colorize it, you can see the menu items there on the right change. Just, I can go through these, and it will, make changes. And then the third button is the things that you do when you want to crop and so forth. And you notice the toolbar on the right has changed. So I'm just gonna make a few changes to the. It's a big white face. It's kind of ugly on the building, the lower left. So I'm going to just move that over and get rid of that. The right-hand side of the picture looks good. The horizontal looks, horizontal. Let's just touch this to bring up the grid, the crosshairs. So we can see with the crosshairs that our horizon is in good shape. I'm going to squeeze this, because when you adjust these tools, sometimes it zooms in on the picture a little bit. So, I got this over here again. So I'm going to get rid of that on the left. And the moon is right smack in the middle of that sucker. And just for the heck of it, I'm just going to move up this a little bit. So you notice as we look across the bottom of this image, that blue back there, that's the ocean. So we can actually see the ocean from where we are. We're exactly 5,200 feet away, according to my insurance company. When you're a mile away from the beach, literally, there's a different premium that you pay. Anyway, it's 5,000. We're 5,200 feet away from the beach, from our Palm place. Okay, so we've got the moon right smack in the middle. We like that. So now we're gonna. So from a laying out the photo standpoint, it looks like the cropping looks okay. So let's touch the top one, and that gives us the moon, and it gives us the everything, and it gives us the buttons here on the right. Now the very top one is auto. You can see it's written auto. So we'll touch auto, and then we can untouch it. We go back and forth. So the auto doesn't look too bad. But we don't have to stick with that. We can slide up here. See, as I slide it, the captions change. Shadow, contrast, brightness, black point, brilliance, exposure. Let's diddle with brilliance a little bit. See what happens when we do brilliance. So we go all the way down. We go all the way. So you can go through entire range. To me, what's amazing is that with an iPhone 12 Max, the big iPhone 12 Pro Max, I think they call it, we have a picture of the moon and we can see the craters. To me, that's absolutely amazing that you can do that with a product that they make millions of and you keep in your pocket. All right, so I'm going to brighten that sucker up a little bit. It was already brightened when I did the auto. So now we're going to see what shadows does. So we go up and down on the shadows, and it tends to brighten up the entire image. So we're just going to leave that neutral at 0. Contrast. So this oftentimes has an interesting effect on a skyline like this. This is, 5:30, the sun's going down, the moon came up. You see, if I go all the way up, the moon almost disappears with contrast. So if we go backwards on contrast, look how it darkens the sky. So I like that. So I'm going to increase the contrast because the idea of this picture was to capture the moon. And we got the moon. And we can go negative on the brightness. And look how that moon is hanging. To me, it's amazing. All right, so we're going to go a little negative on brightness because we are trying to take a picture of a moonrise here. And I don't know, black is going to deepen the sky, so we'll do a little black point there. It doesn't seem to matter. The buildings and stuff down there, we don't care about. We just want to know that it's there. Saturation, that can have an effect. Let's leave saturation alone. Vibrance is another type of saturation. See, the clouds closest to the horizon look kind of nasty if we use that. So let's go negative on that. Let's go back up to saturation, and maybe we want to turn that up a little bit since we got rid of the vibrance. And now this one, this sets the color temperature for the entire image. So I'm going to go up and down with this color temperature and see what happens. And it has an effect. We're just going to leave that alone. it looks like the color temperature is very nice. Noise reduction. Let's see if we can do a little noise reduction, if that has any effect. So, this last one is vignette. Watch what happens when I do this. It darkens the edges. You see, all the edges get a little darkened. So that's an interesting effect, but we're not going to use it. If you go the other way, the edges go brighter. I've never had that. I haven't had a photo where that makes sense to use. So now we're good. So we can say done. So I'm going to click done. So that picture is now, look at that. That's where we started. And look at look at that. That's amazing. So there's another one. Let's do this one. So here's what you can end up with, which to me is just absolutely spectacular. And it just about looked like that last night when we were on our balcony having our evening cocktail. Okay, so here we are with an unadjusted photo. We're going to use a lot of the tools here on this one. Whoops, let's get it back. All right, so yesterday, 5:34 p.m. If you look in the upper middle, it tells you the date and time when it took it. It'll also tag it that it was taken in Boca Raton. It doesn't show that information, but that's also in the header of the file called the exif data, EXIF data. All right, so we're going to edit this. Now we've got the same array of tools. The condo on the right, we're going to get rid of that. So the first thing I like to do is is the cropping and so forth, so we can get rid of some of this stuff. The horizon looks almost right. It looks a little. There we go. That's better, right there. So now we're going to move this over here because I don't want to see the big edge of that building. So I either leave it this way or I go this way. Let's leave this one this way. So we get those beige buildings on Palmetto Park Road. And I go up a little bit just to get rid of those roofs. There we go. We got a good picture of the ocean. You can see the ocean there. The horizon is nicely parallel to the bottom edge of the picture. That's always important. Now the moon is right smack in the middle of this one. So let's leave it there. So we're done now with the crop business. So my next task is to go up to the top button over here on the left, and then all the tools, all the adjustments change. If we go here, remember that with the crop, we have the crop tools. Now this is all in the operating system. This is not a special program that you have to buy. It's right in the photos. When you click on photos, you can edit and you come up with these screens. Okay, so let's hit auto and see what happens. All right, didn't do much. So now we've got a lot of work to do to get that exposure. We'll leave alone. Brilliance. We'll turn that down. So we're trying to get the moon to stick out. So we're going to get rid of some of the highlights too, which lowers the intensity of the white buildings in the bottom of the shot. Shadows is not going to have much effect here, so we're just going to leave it alone. Contrast, let's go up and down with contrast. This usually has a dramatic effect. If we decrease contrast, the moon's gone. That's not exactly what we want to have happen there. So that means if we go up in contrast, the moon's going to jump out at us. Now, at the sacrifice of the ocean turning real dark, which is okay because we don't really care about the ocean. If there was a big sailboat out there on there, I'd have a little more interest in the ocean. But we didn't have a sailboat. So now this is brightness. It affects, see here it gets real dark, but that's not the way it was. I'm trying to adjust this on the way it actually looked. And when this moonrise came up yesterday evening, it was shocking how gorgeous that was. So now I'm going to hit the black point. Remember that helped the other one. So turn that up, and that has a little effect on there. Saturation, whoa! So when you saturate, you get, but then it turns the moon blue. We don't want to do too much there. We're going to turn off the vibrance, or leave it alone. I don't think we need to do anything with the this adjusts the color temperature, and if you look at the buildings down below, they're white, and we want to keep them white. So the camera did a good job on the color balance. So that's so we're I'm going to hit, and I'm going to go back to edit. I'm going to do one more thing. Let's take a look at this. This when we get the different screen. You got vivid and vivid warm, vivid cold, dramatic. See if one of these automated dramatic warm, dramatic cool. This is black and white, silver tone. So that's interesting. Dramatic cool so far, that would be my favorite. Whoa, vivid cool. That looks pretty good. Huh? Okay, so we're done. Those are the tools that are available with the Apple program. This looks like the starburst right there in the middle, next to the house and next to Photoshop, is the standard button to look at all your photos. So let's do this now. I'm going to show you something else. So now we're going to go over here and touch edit again. But we're not going to touch the tools on the left or right. There's a little circle up in the top right next to the word revert. And that you can touch that, and within the Photos application, we can bring up another application. And we're going to pick up Photoshop PS Express, because we loaded that yesterday on our iPads, didn't we? Okay, so from here, we're going to hit right in the bottom in the middle. It says adjustments. I'm going to hit on that. And then the one thing I like to do is go over here to noise luminance reduction and slide this over. And there's a fuzziness with all the, a digital grain. So we just eliminated that. I brought this up to like 90. You got to get it to like 90 or it won't have much effect. So then I'm going to hit sharpness. And sharpness just puts a little edge around everything. Not so much there, probably on the buildings. We'll turn that down. Dehaze. This has a dramatic effect on the image. So if I go this way, the sky is going to get really deep. So I'm watching the moon while I'm sliding this, and the moon is not losing any value. As a matter of fact, the moon is setting up very nicely in contrast to the blue sky. That looks really dramatic. This next one here next to dehaze is clarity. So let's play with that and see if we want to. Whoa! So you slide that and see how the moon jumps out. That's it right there. We want to do that. So it deepens the sky. And I'm moving my fingers across the bottom, see if anything I want to do here. Contrast is a dramatic tool. So I'll hit contrast and see if that deepens the sky. I think we'll leave contrast alone. So we put it back to 0. Highlights. Let's see what happens with highlights. It brightens up the entire image. We're going to leave that alone. I think we're GOOD. So we're going to say done. So now that application is going to close, hopefully, from within the other application. There it goes. It's a lot of pixels. I mean, this photo is, I think, 12 million pixels. So a lot of stuff. Every single pixel gets, a little something. So it has to go through row by row, every single pixel, to make the changes that we just made. So now we collapsed Photoshop Express from operating within the regular Photos album application. So we have to say done again, and then we get back to the shot. And then we can, look left and right. So see, that looks pretty good now. Look at that. That was unbelievable. So, we can get there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Photoshop Express by itself without going from within inside the photos. All right, so I think we're on this one right here. So now we're going to load it. So this is the one we just did. Yep, we got the buildings in the brown over here on the left. And the horizon looks good. This is the one we just modified. But now instead of doing it from within inside the Photos program delivered by Apple, we're opening up this image directly from the Photoshop. Now I have the purchased version of Photoshop. So if you look along the bottom row, see there's all kinds of there are all kinds of tools down the bottom. So when you buy the app, and it wasn't expensive, it was like $15 if I had to guess right now. So it's not much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to more severely crop this. Now this is going to make, when we save this, it's going to save it as a new image. So there'll be this one and the new one. Whereas when you make modifications using the Apple program, when you edit it, you're editing the only image that's there, unless you duplicate it, which you can duplicate it. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So adjustments. I'm going to go to crop. There you go, crop. Now, see when you have crop, along the bottom edge, you see aspect ratio, rotate, and transform. Well, we don't need rotate because the horizon's good. transform isn't going to do anything in this picture. And what transform does is if you have, like if these buildings were a little crooked, it would straighten them up. But everything is good here. So all we're going to do is we're going to touch aspect ratio, and that allows us to do. So I'm going to really trim this up so all we see is really the ocean there. So we don't really care about the buildings. So now we have just the ocean. And we're going to crop it this way, and we're going to crop it this way because we want that moon to jump out at us. So this is there we go. Now you notice the grid lines, so we got it right between, so it's right in the middle. It doesn't have to be, but. So that's about as tight as I can do it. And still, there's something about having the horizon set in the picture that really helps. So that's it. So now we're going to go to adjustments. So you see the picture is cropped. And let's hit up here in the upper right. There's a wand with 3 stars around it. Let's touch on that. And that's what their result is. I'm going to hit this back arrow. All right, that looks very good. So let's go through some of these adjustments. Details. Let's hit details. So details is the dehaze, which darkens up the sky. Clarity, it makes the moon a little more jump out. We're going to go over here to sharpen, get that sharpened up. And then luminance, we can turn that up to 90 like we did before. Bingo, now the sky is nice and smooth. See if I take that out, you see this muddling. I mean, that's as good as a 12 million pixel camera can do. So we can fix that. We just go to luminance and slide that up to, here we go, to like 90. And look how that, see how it smooths it out? When I expand it, it goes away, and then you'll see the program will smooth it out. It's really cool. I hope you can see that. I've got this full screen on there. So there it goes. Now look how smooth it is. It's miraculous. So this is all taken from the an iPhone, last night. And tonight, the actual full moon, which it's hard for me to believe, is at 3 a.m. Not exactly, it's 3 something a.m. tomorrow morning. So that means today, when this moon comes up at 5:30, plus or minus 15 minutes, it'll be almost as full as it can possibly be. But see, when you get it on the horizon, the moon looks bigger. And the reason why the moon looks bigger, this is a little complicated to explain, is that the sun, when the sun looks through the earth, the sun and the moon, when moonlight is, so the moon is the light from the moon, we're sitting on the earth, is coming through the edge of a big curve, okay? And because the atmospheric edge of the earth is our atmosphere, and it tends to keep in the warmth of the planet. And then the other side of the atmosphere is real cold. So you have this atmospheric effect where the bottom face of the curve is warmed by the Earth, and the top edge of the curve is chilled by outer space. That is really cold in outer space, and relatively speaking, it's warm on the planet. So when we look at the moon as it comes through this edge of our planet, it magnifies the moon. And it's called the lunar effect. I read an article about this when I was like 12 years old in a magazine called Scientific American. Now, I was probably the only 12-year-old on the planet that would pay $4 or $5, whatever it is, an expensive magazine. All the other magazines are like 89 cents. This one's $5. And it's a 3/4 of an inch thick. It's written for like PhDs and the Scientific American is a very technical. So the cover story, and you can probably look it up, it was called Lunar Illusions. Lunar Illusions. And they did a study on why the moon looks so big when it comes on the horizon. And it explained what I did. Scientific American Lunar Illusions. And that was the picture of the moon. That was where I read it when I was like 15. I remember going to what we used to call a candy store, which today was kind of like a 7-Eleven, but inventory that 7-Eleven has. You couldn't get anything to eat after. Because of that, I got very interested in the moon. And taking pictures of the moon tonight is going to be unbelievable moonrise because it's almost as big as it can possibly. And at 3 a.m., it's going to be way overhead. 6 p.m. on the horizon. So as the Earth rotates underneath, rotating towards the ocean, it's rotating. It's rotating at 1,100 miles an hour. The Earth. If you could be standing above the Earth without the atmosphere, just planted up there, hanging from a huge tree out of space, just the Earth would be spinning underneath you. The Earth is speeding underneath you at 1,100 miles an hour. And since the Earth has a circumference of 24,000 miles, you divide 1,100 miles an hour into 24,000 whatever, and that's how you get a 24-hour day. I mean, it's really as simple as that. The Earth is rotating at 1,100 miles an hour towards the ocean. So because of that, I know the moon is going to be going up above us as the Earth rotates underneath the image of the moon. All right, well, that's enough of the lunar stuff. Is there anything else we want to do here? I don't think there's anything else we want to do. We did haze. Yeah, that is the most right here. Let's turn it up a little more. That darkens up the sky beautifully. I like that. So now that we want to save this image, we go over here to the upper left, and there's a little arrow way up here. Touch on that and says, if you want to save, don't save it yet. So if you cancel, you're back with touch it again, and we're going to save it. Bingo. So now, it's coming up here. Touch it. So now we're looking at it. Oh yeah, look at that. No, we don't want to do that. We're going to get out of this application. We're just going to go to this one here, the one in the middle, the regular Apple Photos. Place where your photos are. Okay, where's that sucker? Now this is the regular photo. Remember? Photos? Look down here in the bottom. 70,288 photos. And 177 videos. And this production right here is going to be a video edit to that. You know, when I'm finished here. And I'm going to be finished here pretty soon. So I'm going to hit this button. There's our photo. How's that? Very, not much horizon. You just see and get your balance. You just want to look at the sky and see the moon. You get dizzy. So as long as you have the horizon in your image, it's very stabilizing. Whether you're taking a picture or whether you're standing out there. So there it is. You did a good job on the moonshot. And I'll show you the moonshot that we take tonight. It's 5:20. I think it'll be earlier in the evening. Because the moon rotates on a 28-day schedule. So there's always about 15 minutes that gets lost or added to the sunrise and the moonrise. So we're going to touch the upper right here and turn on the heart. So now it's a favorite, and I think with that. Next to it, there we see it when we're working on it. And here we got the image all by itself. All right, so we're pretty much going to close out the show here. About 40 minutes. I started 40 minutes ago, so let's call it a day. So have a great day, and catch you next time.